Perseverance, a lowly virtue whereby mediocrity achieves an inglorious success. Ambrose Bierce. My friends, each and every day, 10 to 15 minutes. If you will just spend the time with us learning how to chart these markets, you will gain vast understanding in how things really work. Because regardless of what they tell you on the news, pay attention to price movement. Price movement tells you everything. Let's jump into these charts. Everything up for the day. Again, check out where we are on the S&P as things bounded up 1.55% to end the week. And look, we've gone from red to green. Now, if we push through, of course, the 200 EMA, it may give us the ability to go long like we did a couple of weeks ago, gathering that 2.32% gain on the S&P. We'll wait and see if things bounce off the 200 this next week. We'll be looking because we've already moved right there to the top of this center portion, this little darkened area here. We have to recover up at least to there. So if on Monday things start to bound down and we go into the red, we are ready to go short. Two ways to do that, of course. You can either go with something like SH, which is the single short of the S&P 500, and you can see that it goes down when the S&P is going up, and it goes up when the S&P is going down. It's an inverse fund, so we'll be ready to pull the trigger on that if that's where things go. But in the meantime, we'll be watching, waiting, and seeing. Now we look at where things are on the 2-day. It is, of course, still in the red, but you can see that big green candle moving up toward the 2-day's 200 EMA. And you can see the 200 EMA here on the weekly. We did reach a bit of a lower low, lower than last week's, but the candle wasn't as big. So we'll keep an eye on things, see where it goes, what the charts lead us to do. So we've got a plan for next week. Now, what about the Qs? Same kind of thing. It's gone to green also. We're not going long because we're below the 200 EMA. 200 EMA shows us where our trend is. Above we go long. Below this golden 200 exponential moving average line, we go short when there is a short position to go. So, going up right now in the green, wait for it to potentially either move on up and cross over going up or go red on the STC and get us back into a down move like the S&P. We can see on the 2-day chart it is still red, and on the weekly chart it is still green. So we'll keep an eye on things, see which way they go as we move into this next week. I hope you're noting this down in your trader's log, your trader's journal, so you've got a plan for next week. Writing these things down is extremely important. Using our trade worksheet, our daily market worksheet, I mean, all of those things can be very, very helpful to you. Now, let's look at where we are with 20-year bonds. We're still in that short position. They were up just a little bit for the day, 0.22%. Still in the green. We will keep a close eye on things, see where things go. Things are still red on the STC, so we are still in that trade, watching it continue to play out. If we wanted to take a look at where volume was, not a bad thing to look at. We can see that volume spiked up right there. Didn't go all the way up. I'll move this out of the way. There we go. Now we can see it better. Did not go all the way up to the average. That's what this blue line is here. So volume is decreasing some. So we'll keep an eye on things as we get into the new week. Every now and then I just like to take a look at where the volume is. So we're still in that down move. 2-day, still going down. Weekly is still in the green, but well below the 200 EMA and several weeks of down movement. So we'll keep an eye on bonds and on our little short position that is there. Now remember, the short fund for bond is what? Is TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot. That is the single short in bonds, and again, gives you another option. I think I mentioned when I talked about going short on the S&P, besides using the inverse fund, of course, if you know how to practice trade calls and puts, you could, of course, buy a put. Now, how do you do that? How do you know what to buy, how to buy? Well, we've got a great training for you so that you can practice trade that. And again, perfect practice makes perfect. That three-part series, Options Made Simple the Charting Wealth Way, is available to our Patreon members at any level of support. So if you appreciate what we do here for free for you every day, how about supporting us? You'll also get the ability to join us in our live question and answer call-in session this next Wednesday. We do that once a month. And Patreon members, go ahead and email in your questions over the weekend. Also, the ETFs and stocks you'd like us to help you backtrack to look at for possible practice trading in the future. Let's move on to gold. Gold up for the day, 0.53%. Now we've seen gold. It had flipped over. We said don't jump into a short position on gold because this is the wrong place to do it. You need to see your STC band move all the way to the top and then reverse, or all the way to the bottom and then reverse. Again, we are only going short now because we're below the 200 EMA. That last chunk we took out of 1.53% in gold was quite beautiful. Now, what are we waiting for here? We're well below the 200 EMA. If we can have things rotate back over into the red now, we'll try to take another chunk of a short position. We'll wait and see. The only thing to remember about gold is there's no good liquid inverse gold fund. There is DGZ. However, if you go look at that inverse fund, you will see that it is illiquid. That is, the bid and the ask are way too far apart to make that anything I'll consider jumping into. But of course, I'm more than happy to jump into a put trade when it comes to gold. So something for you to potentially practice there if you have the opportunity to do so this next week. Now we look where gold is on the 2-day chart. It is, of course, in the red. Many days of down movement. The first green candle we've seen is this latest one. And when we look at where gold is on the weekly chart, we also have 3 weeks of down movement in the red, so primed for more potential down movement or bouncing off as gold did back on those. It tried back on the week beginning the 11th of July and then the next week, the 18th of July, and then popped up. We'll see what happens here if things just continue to slide and move down. If so, we'll be ready to jump into that. Now, lastly, we will go to Bitcoin. We show you where Bitcoin is today on XBTF on the half-day chart. A booming up 11.10%. Now, it's important to note that we bottomed out. Well, we'll show that on a little bit bigger chart. But we bottomed out at about the same area around that 1820 mark and now have shot up again. Have we found a bottom for Bitcoin finally? Don't know. I'm going to switch over to 24-hour-a-day Bitcoin chart and sort of show you what's been happening. Don't like so much to use this half-day chart because it's basically 195 minutes spread over 24-hour periods. Doesn't make a lot of sense. It does when you're looking at a chart that charts the market during its hours like an ETF does, like XBTF does. But when we go for a 24-hour chart, let's look at the 2-day on Bitcoin. And we'll tighten this up a little bit so you can see where Bitcoin is. It is well below the 200 EMA. You can see where, it's bounced down to, again, that 18,600 mark or so. Not all the way to that bottom in the $17,000 mark. And this green candle is the first one we have seen in quite a while on that 2-day chart. Hopefully Bitcoin is bottoming some here. We look at the weekly chart and you can see where several weeks ago it just blew through. On this particularly bad week of the 13th of June, blew way through the 200 EMA on the weekly chart and hammered down. And again, getting down low this last week, still in a down week, still red on the STC. So we'll continue to watch, wait and see. Just because we had a bit of a rebound on Friday doesn't mean everything has changed on Bitcoin. So we shall keep an eye on it. I would love to see Bitcoin finally bottom out and give us the ability to jump back in it and to do some good with it. But it's got a lot of things to get fixed before we would be looking into going long on a Bitcoin practice trade. But I encourage you, continue to follow it with us each and every day. I will be putting out for the general public today what we put out earlier in the week for the Patreon members, and that is going to be Charting Crypto for this week. I'm putting it out as soon as I finish the program and start uploading this video, so it should already be in your feed if you check us out on YouTube. God bless, my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.